Well, hello everybody, and a happy new year from me to you. And I'm so sorry that we start this new year in 2021 at the beginning of yet another lockdown. And however obvious it might seem that we need to do this, however logical it might be in the face of the pandemic, we all realise that it's incredibly challenging, both for you, the pupils, and also for the staff too. However good our remote learning provision is, and we're very proud of it, we think it's excellent, but however good it is, it's not the same. And we know that you want to be back on college site with your friends, and we want you back on the college site. We want to be back on the college site. We don't want to be stuck here in our homes, but we have to get through it. We have to get through these next few weeks, and it does very much seem as though now this is the final phase, the final chapter in our battle against this pandemic, and we will very much look forward to getting back to normal. In the meantime, however, it is going to be difficult for you. There are various areas of support, and I know Miss Davies did a video specifically to identify those for you. But just to remind you, if you go on to Firefly, you will see there how you can communicate with the counsellor, also how you can communicate with the chaplain. And I do strongly encourage, if you're struggling at all at home, that you use those channels of support, as well as your friends and your form tutor and all those other channels as well. But specifically, there the counsellor and the chaplain are there to support you if you're really struggling. So please do use that. We're also very conscious that this remote learning experience is really quite full on. We know that. It's a lot. It's asking a lot of you, a lot of screen time from you, a lot of work, and it's not as easy doing the work at home. We get that. So what we're going to do is use Pupil Parliament this week to really understand from your perspective ways that we can try and make it a little bit more manageable, a little bit more appropriate for you. So please do use that. Raise the concerns, raise the suggestions for how we can make it better. We obviously want to be continuing to offer you the best possible education that we can, and we will do that. But any ways that we can change it, of course we will, for the better. Year 11 and Year 13 are in a particularly difficult situation at the moment, an uncertain time with everything that's being announced about exams. There's a huge level of anxiety associated with it, and I totally understand that. There is still a lot of unanswered questions out there as to exactly what's happened, which is why I am going to host two forums this week, one on Wednesday for Year 11, parents and students between 5 and 6, and one on Thursday for Year 13, between 5 and 6 again, for parents and for students, to do the very best that we can to answer questions, to tell you the state of where things are at the moment and what our plans are. And I believe Piot is canvassing questions in advance of that so that we can answer those and take questions, of course, on Teams that evening as well. So that's hopefully will give some peace of mind to Year 11 and 13. What I would say in the meantime is that there is absolutely no doubt that there will be robust evidence required for these grades to be properly scrutinised by external moderators. So the importance of concentrating as you would normally on your work and on your courses, finishing your courses, is so important. Don't take the foot off the pedal. That is in nobody's interest at all at the moment. But I'll talk to you more about that Wednesday and on Thursday. Couple of other notices. There's an Opening Minds lecture also on Wednesday at 6:30. So Year 11s, you should be able to make that as well if you want to. This one is on construction. It should be very interesting. We've got the architect of our new build and also one of the directors from Wilmot Dixon, who are our builders. If you want to go along to that Opening Minds lecture, of course it's on Teams, you need to email Ms Daniels to get the link for that Opening Minds lecture. We are also welcoming 3 members of the teaching staff, so 3 new teachers, and I know that you'll make them feel very, very welcome. It's such a difficult time to start a school, as a new job, as you can imagine. But Ms Winder, Mr Trainer, Ms Collard's in English, Ms Winder in biology, Mr Trainer in drama. Please make them feel very, very welcome if you're taught by them, so they get a real sense of what a lovely community we are at St Dunstan's, even when we're all in lockdown. So I'm going to reflect very briefly on our lovely topic for the week, which is the topic of music, a subject very, very dear to my heart. And so appropriate, I think, that in a time of heightened anxiety, we focus on the subject of music. And have you noticed how important music has been throughout the course of this pandemic, and particularly in lockdowns. I, like all of you, get glimpses into social media and what's going on out there in the wider world in lockdown, and music has played such an important role for people. I'm just going to pick a couple of my highlights, and I wonder if you've seen these ones as well. The first was the operatic tenor who was in Florence, confined to his flat or apartment in Florence, self-isolating on his own. And every evening he went out onto his balcony and sang the most beautiful operatic arias for the benefit of his local community. It's a really wonderful thing to watch. You can find it on YouTube. Do go and watch it. But it was deeply moving for the people who were able to either hear it there and then in Florence or to subsequently stream it across YouTube. And the other example that comes to mind is the one that's much closer to home, which is of Paul Harvey. And you may have seen this on the news, that the music teacher with quite advanced dementia, who was given 4 notes, and he composed this beautiful melody, which was then orchestrated by the BBC Philharmonic, and a really very, very moving and captivating piece of music making in lockdown. And there are many, many more. And I'm aware that I might be slightly drawn towards the more classical music, but I know that many of you would have experienced all sorts of different music making from all sorts of different genres throughout the lockdowns. And I have no doubt that you will have sought great solace and strength from music, because music is strengthening. And I was thinking about why this was. And Plato said something very interesting, that wonderful philosopher. Plato said, rhythm and harmony find their way into inward places of the soul. And there's something about that, the rhythm and harmony of music, that really runs deep into the consciousness, really runs deep into the soul. And I take great sustenance from music, really believe in its power to calm, to fuel you. It's almost like a food, I think, in times, particularly in times of anxiety and uncertainty. It really nourishes you and sustains you in a way that very little else can. And I pick up on another quote from Hans Christian Andersen, who many of you will know from as a children's author, who said this: where words fail, music speaks. Where words fail, music speaks. And there's something rather lovely about that sentiment. The idea that music can speak to us whenever, whatever the difficulty, whatever the challenge, music will speak to us. So we hope that this lockdown is very much the final stretch. I personally believe that it is, that light is at the end of the tunnel and the normality is not far away. But in these, what we hope very much will be the final few weeks, which we know will be difficult. We know they will be difficult, but they will not be impossible. And they won't be impossible for a number of reasons, because we have a lovely community here at St Dunstan's, which genuinely cares. We care for one another, and that's an incredibly important part of who we are. We're blessed with some fabulous technology, which allows us to communicate well with each other, but also to support each other through education and in all sorts of other ways. But we also have music, going back to our theme of the week. We have music to help us get through these last phases. And so use music to your advantage. And I'd say to you, really listen to that whole range of different online music that's being made at the moment. Try and make something of it. Make a blessing of it. The abundance of virtual choirs and orchestras, and try listening to something different. You know, if you've never listened to opera sung in Italy, listen to it. If you've never listened to an orchestra playing a wonderful classical work, listen to it, because all of this stuff is freely available at the moment. Online, being streamed through social media. So listen to it and see if it moves you, because you never know. Maybe this lockdown will actually introduce you to a whole new genre of music that you didn't know of before and that has really caught your soul. Maya Angelou, another great thinker and writer, said, "Music was my refuge. I could crawl into the space between the notes and curl my back to loneliness." It is a source of nourishment, music, a source of great food in a time of uncertainty. And so use music, as well as our community, as well as everything else that we're able to offer, use music to help you through these final few weeks. Because I really do want to assure you that I believe strongly normality and everything that we enjoy about normal school and being back on the school side is not far away.